for years. So, um, yeah, let's go on to our next big question. Ethan, go ahead with yours.
Yeah, so I wanted to keep mine kind of fantasy relevant. This is a situation that I'm in right now personally, but my big question is, are you selling picks for 2024 and 2025 to make a playoff push? And if you're not, how do you know which way to go? Do you just think your team is ready to take over in playoffs and you'd rather risk losing and trying to get one of these QBs or wide receivers or running backs? Or what do you think? That is my question.
So my position in that is if you are making a playoff push, make it worth it. Um, when it comes to your fantasy squad, you always want to get younger players. You don't want to spend first round picks on, you know, aged players that might not even play 2 years
On
from
Aaron
now.
Jones,
Yeah, on Aaron Jones, Matthew Stafford, uh,
Kelsey,
Jared
big
Goff,
names, Josh,
like,
not
yeah.
naming names,
So,
Josh, you sick
but
freak.
yeah, but spending that much on a an aged player, um, it doesn't make sense to me in dynasty terms. It can set you back years if you lose your first, second, and third round picks in a trade for two or three players that might not even be on your team at the end of next year. And it does not make sense to me. With those picks, yeah, you can go for a ship, but it's it's risky for your team as a whole. If you're going all in, sell every one of your picks. If you know for sure that these players will get you the ship, sell all your picks. Do it. But don't come crying when your team is literally like aged out of the game and you have like Tom Brady as your starting quarterback and he doesn't even play anymore. So, don't you got
Hey,
to think
I got
smart.
Russell Wilson, Ryan. All right, I
Yeah,
made
but you got to think you got to think smart and keep your team young because that's where especially at running back, wide receiver is understandable getting a aged running back. They last a little longer. But running back, you need young players to cover your team.
well, and
So,
that's kind of what I spent these last 2 years doing on my team. Like end of year one, I sold Triple Crown Cooper Cup and got a lot of value from him. And then last year I sold Eckler and got pretty good value for him. I didn't love that I sold Monty with Eckler. Wish I could take that part back. But other than that, like I got really good value out of
yeah.
selling Eckler. And my team got younger for it. Which has helped me get there. And it's helped my thinking of where I want to take my team going forward
Yeah.
because not only for this playoff push, which if you've been following me since the start, I was 0-5. I am now officially in the playoffs. So just gonna slide that quick plug in there. But like not only for this playoff run, but for like the next 3 years, I have a core set.
Yeah. And see that's what you need to do. You need to focus on maintaining your picks if you can. You know, if you want to stack picks for next year, if you're not sure if you're going to be able to make the ship, and you're just, you're a playoff contender, but you don't know, there's those two dominant teams in your league that are just going crazy, and you can't beat them in the ship.
Which we don't really have one of those. I mean,
Yeah,
if you could
yeah,
say
but
even
you
Josh,
can pull the rip cord and just go, hey, I'm selling my top two players
yeah,
and open bidding war. Have them. Sell them to contenders and just be like, here, have them. Give me your picks.
yeah.
So,
What
but
should be
that's
happening?
kind of my opinion on that.
Like
So,
for example, the biggest seller in our league should be Tyler. Tyler
yeah,
should absolutely be selling and not be greedy because his team, it looks really good on paper, but it is not going to work the way his team is set up because they're every
Yeah,
without naming who's on his team, every single one of his player is boomer bust.
yeah.
And the reason why he's 4-8 is because it's boomer
That's what
bust.
it was.
Like,
It's boom or
like he
bust.
maybe had one or two guys, and then the rest of them, or that he'd always have one or two guys that
Yeah,
would be like 6 points, 5 points,
yeah,
4 points. It's like the rest of the team would be fairly consistent, but it was those like two guys that just absolutely killed him. Um,
yeah.
but Jacob's already sold, which good for Jacob. The other person who should be selling, I mean, potentially Michaela. Her team is old.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, if I'm her, I'm trying to pick up some more first for this year. Um, but anyways, that's what I think with that. Like ultimately, you've got to decide with what you said, Ryan. You want to make sure you
Hmm.
keep getting younger, and if you can take the ship, you should go for it with your picks.